Shut up and sit down.
Hello, my friend. You are listening to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast, the number one place for innovative marketing, retention strategies, and business growth ideas made just for dance studio owners. Now, this isn't your average business podcast. We're here to shake things up, simplify the hustle, and focus on real, actionable insights. I'm your host, Jen Dalton, and after 30 years of running studios, coaching owners, and scaling businesses, I know one thing's for sure. There's no one size fits all in this industry. You've got the passion, and I've got the tools to help you take it to the next level. So hit that subscribe button, grab a coffee, and let's scale your studio together. Well, hello there, Dance Fam, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Dance Studio Scaled podcast. Today's episode is very timely, off the back of some pretty intense conversations that I've had this week with some incredible studio owners. Oh my God, I love what I do. But it really did prompt me to write and talk through this topic. And it's all about, should you be hustling or should you be winding down? Particularly at this time of year. I don't know about you, but for several people I've had conversations with very recently, they are feeling like this year has been a lot. There's a lot happening. If things are feeling heavier, there seems to be this feeling of like real high highs and low lows. So there's an extreme between the feelings. And so what better to do than just start talking about it? So you know that this time of year is when everything can feel like a blur. The concert prep, the parties, the gifting, the invoicing, following up, enrollments, returning those costumes, the extras that we've bought and we want to get our money back for. And somehow you're also supposed to be planning next year too. And hey, I sit here, the advocate of that, but it's a lot when everything else is happening. And you may be waking up and you're thinking, if I can just make it through to the holidays, just the week after the concert, then I'll be able to breathe. If I can just get to Christmas, then I'll be able to breathe. Yep, that is what December looks like for most dance studio owners. And let's be honest, you're probably running on adrenaline and a fair bit of caffeine right now. You have given everything. You give to your dancers, you are giving to your team, you are giving to your families. You're making the list and you're answering all those questions from the parents that you've actually already answered, but for some reason they feel the need to ask you again. They're coming in at odd hours. You're juggling the end of year chaos while also trying to hold it all together. But here's the question that I want to ask you. And the question that is coming up: should you be in hustle mode or is it time to wind down? So this episode isn't about giving up or dropping your standards at all. It really is just about recognizing when the extra push isn't helping anymore, when it's actually costing you clarity, creativity, and probably most importantly, joy. Because sometimes the most powerful moves that you can make in your business as the business owner is to pause before you do burn out. I'm going to start by talking about the hustle reflex. Now, studio owners are some of the hardest working people that I know. We are passionate, we care deeply. You give everything. You give your whole lot of energy, decision-making, stress, everything to your dancers, to your team, and to your families. So of course, when things get busy, it's just natural instinct to go harder, like to continue, just to push through. And that's your hustle reflex kicking in. It's protective, right? It's how you've always gotten things done. But the problem is that reflex doesn't know when to stop. So even when the finish line is in sight, you are generally still sprinting. And then before you know it, you've spent another December in survival mode or reactive mode. And then you head straight into the onslaught of Christmas or holidays where you're celebrating, but you've also got some pretty big commitments only to be exhausted heading into January. And so that's what I want to talk about. Let's talk about what that actually costs you, right? So staying in hustle mode, it does take its toll because yes, things get done, but at what price? And this is why it's super important that we are strategic at this time of year. I talk about timing in ways that is in the best interest for everyone. So I know people roll their eyes and laugh at me when I start talking about organizing timetable and the following year in August of the year before. But this is why. When you're constantly in hustle mode, your energy changes. You may start to lose patience. You might feel snappy, like little things that wouldn't usually bother you start to feel really big. And I remember one year, like I'd hit every goal that I set in my studio. Enrollments were up, profits were great, and my team was thriving. But I know I got to January and I was completely drained and I couldn't think straight. I couldn't create. I couldn't do anything that I wanted to do. But the kicker is I didn't even feel proud of what I achieved. I just felt this sense of relief because it was over. And that was the moment that I realized hustle isn't sustainable. Like you can't build the next level of your business from burnout. Now, before you panic, winding down doesn't mean dropping everything, and it doesn't mean giving up on your standards or letting things slide. It really is just about intentional slowing. So choosing what really matters right now and then letting the rest wait. And so maybe that means just collating one final email, like one message to the families, but getting really specific about how they're able to communicate, what you expect from them, like when your office is closing, how they can contact you. Let them know that they won't receive any correspondence between certain dates, just so it's done and finalized and it's one less thing you have to worry about. Maybe you can let your team help take some ownership of the post-concert cleanup or delegate some of your re-enrollment stuff. Maybe it's just simply deciding that rest is productive because it actually can be. When you stop trying to do everything, you start making space for clarity. And that's the difference between hustling through December and then walking into January with purpose. So if you're wondering whether it's time to wind down, I've got a few signs for you to look at. So maybe if you're ticking boxes instead of moving the needle, if every decision feels more reactive instead of strategic, maybe you're struggling to feel inspired about next year's plans, or maybe you're not feeling like as pumped as you normally do, or maybe you're saying once the concert's over, I'll finally blah, blah, blah. Now, if this is you, I just want you to take it as a signal, not as a failure. It's about being aware that your body, your creativity, and your leadership are just all asking for some space. So how do we wind down without dropping the ball? I can hear you asking me right now. This is what I do. This is what I've done. You can tweak it to work for you and the way you run your business. But what I suggest, once you've done with your concert, once you've done with your end of year process, whether that's your re-enrollment, whatever term 4 looks like for you, I really suggest that you just grab a notebook or open a doc and jot down some details while it's still fresh. What worked? What didn't? What would you like to change for 2026? Now, if you do it while it's fresh, well, first of all, you'll remember because it'll be, give yourself a week or two and, it'll be a distant memory. But your future self will really thank you. The next thing you want to do is clearly communicate with your team. So let them know what actually needs to be done before you go on break and what can wait. Now, that clarity alone can just drop stress levels instantly. And then the next thing is to automate as much as you can. So pre-scheduling enrollment content, social media posts, having your parent reminders already set, possibly scheduled so that you're not scrambling in January. When you build systems and you're able to trust your team, the studio then doesn't rely on you, like pushing yourself to exhaustion. But probably the biggest reframe that I would love for you to take away today is finishing strong isn't about output, it truly is about alignment. And the most successful studio owners that I work with know when it's time to shift gears. They can push when it's needed, but they also know when to pause, reset, and protect their energy. Because next year's success really does depend on the version of you that shows up in January. And that version can't be burnout. Now, I know for myself, literally the calendar flicks over January 1 and my brain is going. I wish I could extend it out, but I don't. But what I found as I was nearing, the end part of my business is the more planning and things that I had scheduled and set out in advance allowed me for more of that downtime. So maybe the question isn't about how much more you can do, but maybe it's what's worth carrying into next year. What can be done before? What can you then also leave behind? So that's it. It's a nice snappy episode today. As you are wrapping up for this season, I hope you give yourself permission to ease, even if it's just a little bit, because creating space now is where the next big ideas, the systems, the opportunities are going to come from. And if you're craving like that more intentional way to start 2026, one where you're organized, you're energized, and in control, then I just want to let you know, Sally Prendergast and I are going to be running the Business of Dance conference in Sydney, January 14th. Now, this is designed to help you step into the new year with clarity, with structure, and with ease. And we want to take away the idea of that hustle. Now, when I say take away hustle, there still is a sense of excitement that can come with the idea of hustle for some of us. So I don't want to take that completely away, but we want to do it in a way that aligns with the business we want to run, the life we have to run and have to balance as well. So I'm going to leave it there. I would love to hear how things are finishing up for you. If you have any questions, please do reach out. DM me through Instagram is probably the best way. But yeah, January 14th in Sydney, we'll be running the Business of Dance conference. We have a few exciting speakers who are going to be coming along to share their wisdom and knowledge as well. So if you want more information about that, also reach out. You can keep your eyes open in your inbox as well, because there'll be more details going through there. But until next time, please take care of yourself. Take that breath and remember, slowing down is still progress. Thanks for tuning in to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other studio owners who would love it too. And let's keep the conversation going. Follow me on Instagram at Jen Dalton for more tips, insights, and behind-the-scenes moments to help you simplify and scale your studio. Until next time, keep dreaming big and taking action. I'll see you back here soon.